It's just me, Kelly, today on Permission to Heal. And because it is February, because it is the month of Valentine's Day, I thought I would come on and talk about relationships. Starting with what makes relationships so hard, and this is what I see in my work as a couples therapist, is you're truly just two very different people that are trying to make something work, that are trying to build a life together. Right? You and your partner, you have totally different personalities, different families, different likes, dislikes, opinions, beliefs, ways of communicating, nervous systems, histories, trauma, patterns, triggers. There's so many differences. And you're trying to find, I don't think there's the one, but I think you're trying to find someone who you are compatible enough with and who you feel those love feelings for. And then you have to put in the work over time to navigate through those differences, to not let the differences rupture, disconnect, to not let those differences eat away at the relationship. I think that's what happens a lot of the time. And amongst navigating the differences, you're also fundamentally, both of you are trying to answer the same questions, actually. You're trying to answer the questions of, am I safe? Am I accepted? Am I loved? Do I matter? Will you stay? And so when you have all the differences, and you're also trying to answer these really meaningful questions, things are going to happen. Communication is going to get rocky. Emotions are going to be triggered. Conflict is going to be had. And it's really not about not having conflict. That's actually not that healthy. Couples who don't have conflict, I don't think really communicate. And you see that eat away at the relationship over time. But it's about maintaining connection, maintaining care, maintaining a positive regard, maintaining respect for your partner through the conflict. We don't need to try to prove who's right, who's wrong. We don't need to get defensive. We can come together seeing that something is an us problem, and we can come together and we can try to figure it out. And I know as I say that, it's not as easy as just simply communicating better because the emotions get so hot. But really, conflict is two nervous systems trying to protect each other at the same time. And so it takes a lot of skill and intention and work to recenter, to try to listen, to truly understand, to be curious. It's really, really hard. It's really important to look at what's under all of the behaviors or those big reactive emotions or actions or words. Because again, you're both trying to answer the fundamental questions of, am I safe? Do I matter? Am I loved? Am I accepted? Will you stay? And so normally underneath whatever the conflict's about, underneath really reactive behavior is probably an emotion of fear, of hurt. And as a couple, it's really important to be curious about what's happening underneath the surface so that you can see it. You can bring it into the light. You can show empathy. You can show compassion. Even if you don't agree, even if you think it's totally bullshit, it's okay. Because you're two different people having two totally different experiences. Neither's right, neither's wrong. They're just different. And the healing in relationships happens when you can care for the other, even within those differences. And I promise you, if you try to find those emotions under the surface in your partner, they're going to trigger caretaking from you. You're going to soften. When you see your partner's hurt or fear, you then want to reassure them. You want them to feel better. Hopefully, that can go and get lost. And that tends to not be a great sign. But in most cases, seeing that emotion in the other is going to really support you to do the work that's needed to move through conflict. So really it's a win-win. Be curious about what your partner is experiencing above all. Whether you agree with it or not, whether it's the same, different, whatever it is, be curious and show that you care to understand. And you can do this in a really simple way. I call it the initiator and the inquirer process. So for conversations, for things that you're talking about, you're going to have one initiator. That's the person that's coming with something to say. And you're going to have the inquirer. That's the person that's listening and trying to learn more. And the initiator gets to talk. They get to share. They have to take responsibility to be respectful and share in a way that's not going to trigger the other. But they get to share their perspective. And then the listener repeats it back. Hey, this is what I hear you saying. Do I have that right? Am I missing anything? You're really trying to listen to your partner so that you get it. And then you're trying to communicate that you understand. And that is really, really, really going to soothe your partner. It's going to help move you two through the conflict. And then you get to switch roles. So you get to share your side of things. And your partner listens, just trying to understand until they can mirror it back to you and really validate that your experience is understandable. Again, whether you agree or not. So listening truly is one of the most powerful tools in a relationship. Not listening to defend, not listening and planning what you're going to say next, not listening to fix or to try to make it go away, but it's a really slow process. You might have to regulate your nervous system while you listen, but try to hold on to that curiosity. Even if you don't agree, even if your experience is different, even if every part of you have that fire in you that wants to say your side, regulate that and you will get your turn to share your side. Another misunderstanding about relationships is I think a lot of people go into them thinking that they're going to fix everything. They're going to make them happy. It's going to make them feel whole. It's going to make them feel okay. It's going to make everything okay. But in reality, relationships don't really heal what's fundamentally going on. Relationships actually kind of bring up old wounds. They kind of make you vulnerable. They bring these things to the surface. So don't expect to be in a relationship and for all the work to end. Because relationships are a mirror that's going to show you a lot about yourself. And so be willing when you're in relationship to also be doing the work on self-awareness, of getting to know your patterns, and of working on your own, but also in collaboration with your partner to move through those, to build something new. It's a really beautiful thing when you can do it. So let's talk about how to repair rupture when there's a conflict, when there's hurt, when you screw up a little bit. Repair is really bringing back that connection after disconnection. Simply put, a framework that you could follow is after a conflict, you first take a pause, you regulate. Don't try to repair when you're still in the emotion. Calm your nervous system first. And then name what happened. Name the behavior. Name what you did. Acknowledge how it impacted the other person, taking responsibility for it. Make a promise about the future or change, and then reconnect. So that might sound like, hey, I want to talk about what happened earlier. And when I called you lazy, I really understand how much that hurt you. I shouldn't have said that. I didn't handle that well. I repeated an old pattern, and I'm really sorry. And I'm really going to put an effort not to in the future. And then reconnect with something physical, maybe a hug, maybe an activity together. Do something to try to reconnect with your partner. And with repair also goes apologies. So that's something really similar. And I see a lot of ineffective apologies in my practice. And so here's how to do a meaningful one. Here's how to do it right. Firstly, you have to be genuine. But you go in and you name the behavior, name what you did, acknowledge the impact, express genuine remorse. Say the words, I am so sorry that I did that and I hurt you. Talk about how you're going to stop it from happening in the future without blaming the other person for it. And then reconnect. I'm sorry I shut down when you were trying to talk and I walked away. I can really see how that would have made you feel really disconnected and hurt. It wasn't fair. And I'm really going to work on staying present, even if I feel overwhelmed, or maybe we can find a keyword that I'll use. Apologies like that rebuild trust. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay because you can't avoid it. I promise you, you cannot avoid hurting your partner or having conflict. And so a really beautiful thing is if you can take responsibility for your part in things instead of getting defensive, instead of trying to blame the other person. Realize that things are nuanced and you're also not perfect. That will 9 times out of 10 really help conflict go well. So let's remember, being different is hard. But you know what? You can find someone who has enough similarities that you love, that you can put the work into to navigate those differences and to grow together and to stay curious to each other. It's not about being calm all the time, being happy all the time, but great relationships are when there's 2 people who are willing to notice their patterns, regulate themselves, take responsibility, and stay curious and caring instead of defensive. Again, it's never going to be perfect. So when it's not perfect, just repair and get back to it. And that's what allows a relationship not just to survive, but to deepen. That's all I have to say for today. If you enjoyed this, please let us know. Give me an email, podcast@ally.io. That's ALLI.io. I would love to hear what you want to hear more about in terms of relationships. If you have any questions, I want to be a good resource for you. So, take care. Thanks for listening. And remember, you always have permission to heal.